Now let's take a look at using some application variables in this global Asax page. And again, remember that any information we store here in an application variable in that global Asax page is available to all pages in my web application. Now, I can initialize these either in the application start event or in the session start event. And then there's an application object that I can use to manipulate these variables and to store them. Now, the application object comes into being automatically whenever anybody requests the first ASPX page. I don't have to create the application object or go into a lot of hassles. It's done for me in the background, some of the Microsoft smoke and mirrors. And this object gets destroyed automatically when all users have exited my web application. Now, I can store data in application variables, and when I store it in key and string type format. And notice application here indicates that this is an application variable. Number of visitors is the string or the name of the variable that I'm using. And then I can use an equal sign, and here I'm using plus equal. This is a shortened version of saying number of visitors equals number of visitors plus 1. But I'm setting a value, an expression here. And so that's the way I use this. Now, to retrieve any application variables, what I will do is, for example, I've got a label called total visitors, and I'm going to set the text property on it equal to whatever is stored out there in our number of visitors variable that's an application level variable. Now, again, let's take a look at this and show you what this looks like. So I'm going to go out to visualstudio.net, and let's see, I think I'll choose something that we used before. I'll use ASP.NET Video. And I want to show you here, I promised in the previous video to show you, I want to show you the global ASAX page. And this is where we're going to store these application variables and where we're going to create them. So as soon as we connect up and get going, here we go now. Notice, here's our page, not a whole lot going on here. But in Solution Explorer, notice here's the global ASAX page. Okay, now if I open this page up, I'm going to double click it, and it'll open here. And notice this one's a little different from the other ones. To create methods and events for this, switch here to go to Code View. Now notice this is the global ASAX page, and notice here's the application start event, session start, begin request, authenticate request, notice error, session end, and so forth, application end. There's a lot of these things out there. I want to, every time a session starts, every time a new person shows up, I want to count the number of visitors that are coming. So what I'm going to do is on the session start, I'm going to type application, then I'm going to create a key called number. I'm going to change it. Total number visitors. And I'm going to say that this is equal to the number of visitors plus 1. So every time I open a new connection or a new session, then I'm going to increment this variable by 1. Now, what I'm going to do is go back out to my web form, and I'm going to drop a label on here. Okay, and here's my label. I'll come out to Properties. Whoa! And notice the text. I'm going to call this number of visitors. So there's my label. Let me pull this thing back. And then I'm going to put another label right next to it. This is where we're going to show our information. So this label, notice the name of it is label 2. So what I'm going to do then on my page here is I'm going to go to my web form, my code behind page, and on page load I'm going to say label 2 dot text equals application total number visitors. And if I put that the same, then I'll be okay. So what I'm going to do is go out to global ASAX, total NBR visitors. Then if I come back out here, total NBR visitors. So every time my page loads, okay, every time I open a new session on the global ASAX page, notice it's going to increment this variable by 1. And then every time I open a new session out here on the page load, it's going to set my label to whatever the latest total of this is. So to test this, let's run it, see if we get any errors. Looks like we're okay so far. And you'll notice when this comes up that total number of visitors 1. Well, notice if I refresh, it knows that I'm still the same person because it's maintaining state for me, and it'll stay at 1. If I open a new instance of Internet Explorer and we go to localhost, again, notice now the visitors are 2. And I'll create one more new connection. And go to localhost again. Notice number of visitors are 3 now. And I've got 3 separate instances open. Each one of those is a new session, and it counted them. So I'm using my global ASAX page to store an application variable. Now take that basic premise and use it for all kinds of things. Notice I have session starts, session ends, application starts, application ends. A lot of different things I can do with that. And so take that, again, this is another one of those tools, stick in your development toolbox and use it to get at this information.